It's time for City Beat, your source for all the latest news on the city of Thompson. Only on 102.9 CHTM, your radio station.
Good morning and welcome to the September 28th edition of City Beat here on 102.9 CHTM. My name is Stuart Walter and my guest this morning is Mayor Dennis Fenske.
Good morning.
Let's start off by talking to what we didn't get to last week when I was talking to Councillor Smook with regards to the last City Council meeting. There was a report from the Public Safety Committee, which you are on. What are some of the highlights from the report?
First off, the Public Safety group meets every month. There's members of the general public. There's members of the RCMP and other associations that work with the City of Thompson, as well as councillors. Myself, as the mayor, sit on the committee. And so, just talking about the reports in regards to ambulance calls. We get reports from the fire chief, emergency services, in regards to fire calls and ambulance calls. They are up year over year, and no particular reason for that, other than it was weather may have an indication in the sense that it was a nice summer. We had a lot more people in town, may have attributed to that. But generally, that's normal stats for the summer. Same with the RCMP stats. We are a regional hub for the community, so we do see increased numbers throughout the summer. And then leading into the CSOs, are still, we have 8 employed with the City of Thompson. We're still working with the province in regards to funding. We had the previous agreement expire on May 25th of this year, and then there was some time to get the legislative powers reinstated. That was done. They were back on the street in about 4 weeks after the 25th, and now we're just working with the province for an additional funding agreement moving into 2018-2019.
It was discussed a bit at council, but was there a difference or an increase in calls and numbers for the RCMP that they had to respond to for those 2 weeks while the CSOs weren't in action?
Absolutely. We've got a report from the RCMP that their weekly calls almost doubled. In those calls for disturbance, IPDAs, things like that normally the CSOs would work with, and so it showed from a policing perspective, it showed the impact of that. The other loss was the interaction with those in the downtown area. A lot are dealing with addictions or mental health issues, and not always in the justice system. So it's a matter of CSOs working with them to identify their needs, getting them to the right organization and the assistance that required. So that was missing as well. So definitely having them off the street was noticed.
Moving on to another topic, it was probably the hot button issue of the last meeting was a motion brought forward by Councillor Matichuk to rescind the wage increase for executive staff. It's already been talked about to death. I know I wrote a few web story about it. It was talked about in the news, probably been in the paper as well. Could you just reflect on your thoughts on the issue?
Well, I think it was basically a moot point from that perspective, and I think Councillor Byer spoke to it earlier on, is all of these decisions in regards to wages and negotiations were discussed at the budget deliberations. The directions from council and consensus was to move forward negotiations with our local steel units 7911 and 8223. We negotiated a contract with that with increases for over a 4 or 5 year agreement. Traditionally, and that's been the tradition for years, is that executive staff on a year-by-year basis, resolution comes forward for the same increase that the unionized employees gave. Council knew that in the budget deliberations when we gave approval to move forward with negotiations. So to now speak against that increase, again, a little bit of politicking, because we had already discussed it in the budget, and it was previously recommended to move forward with negotiations.
Another issue which became a bit contentious for a bit was the attendance of councillors Foley and I believe Byer at the AMM workshop taking place in Brandon to do with probably the 3 favorite words of council this year, conflict of interest. Why is it so important to have representatives from the city, not just at this specific workshop, but other AMM workshops?
Well, I think as stated at the meeting, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, referred to as AMM, is our governing body from the province, and from that perspective, any education opportunities provided to councillors and mayors and CAOs through that organization, when appropriate, should be taken advantage of. Geographically, we're a little challenged in that most of the training opportunities occur in Winnipeg or Brandon. But I certainly support any councillor that wants to take advantage of a learning opportunity that AMM supports, and as so voted in favor of sending them.
Monday will be the next regular meeting of council. What can the public expect, and are there going to be any major resolutions or bylaws that are expected to be on the agenda?
No, actually, it's a pretty light agenda. It's being formulated right now. It will be available to the public at 4 o'clock on Friday, tomorrow afternoon at City Hall. It will be available online at thompson.ca as well. So, as I said, at this point, there's a couple letters, or there's a press release from AMM from a recent city caucus meeting that CEO Gary Sapatelli and I were meeting in Portage La Prairie with the major centers of Manitoba, and other than that, there's a hearing on a variation, but pretty straightforward, pretty light agenda. But again, encourage everyone, Monday night, 7 o'clock, more than welcome to come out.
Moving on from City Council, it seems there's never a shortage of events going on here in Thompson, no matter what the season, no matter what the month, and there's a few even starting tonight.
Absolutely. So the Boreal Discovery Center holds an open house and AGM this evening. It starts at 7 p.m. The open house is to follow, and that's at the Boreal Discovery Center, which is located just behind the ball fields at the TRCC. Next up, we've got a food drive on Saturday, Westwood Mall lobby from 12 to 5 p.m., supporting the Salvation Army Food Bank. A worthy cause, and there's always a need for the food banks to have their coffers full, and this is the attempt moving into the I don't want to say the W word, but I will, the winter, to stock up for food services.
And then there is also the Manitoba Winter Games powered by Manitoba Hydro are coming up fast. That's coming up in March here in Thompson, and there's a bit of a fundraiser and fun event coming up on Saturday, I understand.
Absolutely. Again, hosted by the Manitoba Games Council. Saturday, 2 to 6 p.m. in the ball fields behind the TRCC. It's open to anyone. Face painting and kids games will be available as well. The fundraising barbecue, it's $1 per hot dog and drink. And this is, again, working towards the big event that will be held March 4th to the 11th in Thompson, where we will host the Manitoba Winter Games, expecting about 1,400 athletes over a 10-day period. And you can expect as many coaches and parents and family members as well. So you're looking at around 3,000 people for 10 days. It should be an exciting time. It'll be an opportunity to showcase our community and what we have to offer.
And I believe you have a reminder for Thompsonites using their least favorite T word and everyone's least favorite T word everywhere, taxes.
Absolutely. So September 30th is the deadline for taxes, as everyone knows, for property taxes, and that falls on a Saturday this year. So we will be open. City Hall will be open normal hours till on Friday, the 29th. On Saturday, we will actually be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that people can come down and pay their taxes. Checks can be post-dated for September 30th. We always take cash as well, but online payment should be posted prior to Saturday because it takes a day or two to process it. So if you're paying online, please pay today or tomorrow. And so again, staff will be on hand to answer any questions and accept all payments for property taxes Saturday the 30th at City Hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning, Mayor Fenske.
Thank you.
If you have any questions you'd like answered next week, email them in advance to CHTMnews@arcticradio.ca. For City Beat here on 102.9 CHTM, I'm Stuart Walter.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at 11:30 with more news about Thompson.